The morning started like any other morning on New Galapagos. The sun rose over the blue oceans and green forests. Birds sang in the trees. Children walked to school. People drank coffee and talked about the weather. It was a peaceful world, far from the dangers of deep space. Captain Elena Voss stood on the bridge of her ship, the Defiant Watch. It was a small patrol frigate, nothing special. Her job was simple: watch the border, make sure everything stayed quiet. She had done this job for 3 years. Nothing ever happened. That was good. Boring was good. Down on New Galapagos, her wife Maria was making breakfast. Their daughter Sophia was getting ready for school. Sophia was 7 years old. She loved drawing pictures of spaceships. Maria always put Sophia's drawings on the refrigerator. Elena called them every morning before her shift started. It was their routine. The communication screen lit up. Elena smiled and pressed the button. Maria's face appeared. Behind her, Sophia was eating cereal and swinging her legs under the table. "Good morning, Captain," Maria said with a smile. "Another exciting day of watching empty space?" Elena laughed. "You know it. How's my little astronaut doing?" Sophia looked up and waved. "Mama, I drew a new spaceship. It has 6 engines and can go really, really fast. I can't wait to see it when I get home," Elena said. She meant it. These calls were the best part of her day. "I'll be home for dinner tomorrow. We can hang it up with all the others." They talked for a few more minutes. Then Sophia had to go catch her school transport. Maria blew a kiss at the screen. Elena caught it and pressed her hand to her heart. It was their thing. They did it every time. The screen went dark. Elena sat back in her chair. Her crew was running system checks. Everything was normal. Outside the window, space looked empty and peaceful. 4 million people lived on New Galapagos below. They were farmers, teachers, doctors, artists. They had come here to build a new life. They had succeeded. Then Lieutenant Chen spoke from his station. His voice was different, worried. "Captain, I'm picking up something on long-range sensors." Elena sat up straight. "What is it?" "Multiple contacts. Coming out of hyperspace. Big ones." Chen's fingers moved fast across his console. "Captain, these are warships." "A lot of warships." Elena's heart started beating faster. "Send an identification request now." The bridge got quiet. Everyone watched their screens. The seconds felt like hours. Then a response came back. The ships identified themselves as the Zarek Collective. Elena knew that name. Everyone in the Federation knew it. The Zarek were powerful. They controlled hundreds of worlds. They didn't like humans very much. "Send a standard greeting," Elena ordered. "Ask them if they need assistance." The response came fast. Too fast. It wasn't a greeting. It was a message. A message on all frequencies so everyone could hear it. The voice was cold and mechanical. It spoke in perfect human language. "Attention, human vessels. This system has been designated for cleansing. Your colony is built on territory that belongs to the Zarek Collective. You were warned to stay out of the outer reaches. You did not listen. This is the consequence." Elena jumped out of her chair. "Get me a line to planetary defense. Send out an emergency evacuation signal. Now." But it was already too late. The Zarek ships moved into position around the planet. They were huge. Each one was 10 times bigger than the Defiant Watch. There were 30 of them. Elena's little ship had 6 weapons. The Zarek fleet had thousands. "Captain, they're charging weapons," Chen said. His voice shook. "They're targeting the atmosphere. Fire everything we have." Elena screamed. "Protect the planet." The Defiant Watch fired its missiles. They flew toward the Zarek ships. Some hit, they did no damage. The Zarek shields didn't even flicker. The alien warships completely ignored Elena's ship. They had a different target. The Zarek weapons fired. Beams of red light shot down from orbit. They hit the planet's atmosphere. Elena watched in horror as the sky started to burn. The oxygen in the air was igniting. The entire atmosphere was turning into fire. Down below, people looked up and saw death falling from the sky. They had 17 minutes. Some tried to run. Some held their families. Maria grabbed Sophia and ran for the basement. She knew it wouldn't help. Nothing would help. The fire was everywhere. On the bridge of the Defiant Watch, Elena collapsed into her chair. She couldn't look away. Couldn't move. Couldn't scream. She just watched. The blue and green planet turned red, then orange, then white. The forests burned. The oceans boiled. The cities melted. 4 million people died in 17 minutes. When it was over, New Galapagos was a dead ball of burning rock. Nothing lived there anymore. Nothing would ever live there again. The Jarek broadcast one more message. This is the price of trespass. Humanity will withdraw from the outer reaches. You have 1 standard year to abandon 12 more colonies. If you do not comply, we will repeat this process. We will burn your worlds one by one until you learn your place. Then the Jarek fleet turned and jumped back into hyperspace. They left as quickly as they had come. They left behind a dead world and 1 broken human ship. Elena sat alone on her bridge. Her crew was silent. Some were crying. Others just stared at nothing. Elena's hands gripped the arms of her chair so hard they hurt. She stared at the burning planet that used to be her home. The planet where Maria and Sophia had been eating breakfast 2 hours ago. Something changed inside Elena in that moment. Something broke. Or maybe something woke up. She didn't know which. She only knew one thing with absolute certainty. The Jarek would pay for this. Every single one of them. Earth received the news 6 hours later. The images came first. Pictures of a burning world. Then came the recordings. The Jarek message. The screams from the surface that had lasted exactly 17 minutes. Then silence. The Federation Council met in emergency session. The chamber was full of shouting. Some wanted war immediately. Others said war would doom humanity. The Jarek were too powerful, too advanced. Humanity would lose. Elena Voss stood before them 3 days later. She had not slept, had not eaten much. Her uniform was clean, but her eyes were red. When she spoke, her voice was steady but empty, like all the life had been burned out of it. They gave no warning, she said. They didn't ask us to leave. They didn't negotiate. They just killed everyone. 4 million people. Gone in 17 minutes, she paused. My wife was a teacher. My daughter was 7 years old. She liked to draw spaceships. The council chamber was silent. One counselor, an old woman named Patricia Hayes, spoke softly. Captain Voss, we are so deeply sorry for your loss. For everyone's loss. But we must think carefully. The Zarek have given us an ultimatum. Abandon 12 colonies or face more attacks. If we refuse, millions more will die. If we fight, billions might die. And if we surrender? Elena's voice got harder. What happens when they demand 12 more colonies? And 12 more after that? When do we stop running? When does humanity stop letting aliens tell us where we can and cannot live? Another counselor stood. His name was David Park. He looked angry. Captain, I understand your pain. But you're letting emotion cloud your judgment. The Jarek Collective controls 400 worlds. They have weapons we don't understand. Technology centuries ahead of ours. If we fight them, we lose. It's simple mathematics, is it? The voice came from the back of the chamber. Everyone turned. Admiral Marcus Chen walked down the aisle. He was the commander of the Terran Defense Fleet, a tall man with gray hair and hard eyes. He had fought in the border wars 20 years ago. He knew about killing. Admiral Chen, Council President Williams said, you weren't scheduled to speak today. Things change, Chen said. He stopped next to Elena, looked at the council. You want to talk about mathematics? Let's talk. The Jarek killed 4 million humans. They did it as a lesson. To teach us fear. Well, they succeeded. You're all terrified. I can see it in your faces. We're being realistic, Counselor Park said. You're being cowards, Chen said flatly. The Zarek attacked us because they think we're weak. They think we'll roll over and accept whatever they do. Maybe they're right. Maybe you will surrender and abandon those colonies. But let me tell you what happens next. They'll demand more and more, and you'll give it to them because you're scared. One day you'll wake up and realize humans only control Earth and a few nearby systems. Everything else will belong to the aliens who pushed us around. The chamber erupted in argument. Some agreed with Chen. Others called him a warmonger. President Williams slammed his gavel until everyone got quiet. Admiral, what exactly are you suggesting? Williams asked. Chen smiled. It was not a nice smile. I'm suggesting we remind the galaxy why humans are dangerous. We've been playing nice for 50 years. Building farms and schools. Making friends. That's good. That's important. But it made us soft. Made others think we forgot how to fight. Maybe it's time we showed them they were wrong. With what? Counselor Hayes asked. Admiral, be realistic. Our fleet is designed for patrol and defense. The Jarek have ships 10 times more powerful. That's what they think, Chen said quietly. That's what everyone thinks. Even most of you. But you don't know everything. There are things we built, things we prepared, just in case. The council stared at him. President Williams leaned forward. What are you talking about, Admiral? Project Prometheus, Chen said. A black program started 30 years ago. Hidden in the defense budget. You authorized the funding, but you never asked what it was for. You didn't want to know, because knowing meant accepting what we might have to do someday. And what is it? Williams asked. Insurance, Chen said. For the day someone decided to exterminate a human world. That day has come. Now you have a choice. Surrender and hope the Zarek are merciful, or let me show you what humanity can really do when we stop pretending to be civilized. The vote took 3 days. It was close. Very close. In the end, the council authorized military action. But there were conditions. Rules of engagement. Limits on what weapons could be used. Chen listened to all of it and nodded. He agreed to everything. Later in private, one of his officers asked him why. Why agree to limits when he clearly thought they were stupid? Chen smiled that cold smile again. Because once the shooting starts, rules don't matter. They'll change their minds when they see what we're up against. They always do. For now, let them feel like they're in control. It makes them feel better. 2 weeks later, Elena Voss received orders to report to Facility 7. She had never heard of it. When she looked it up, it didn't exist. Not officially. The coordinates led to the edge of the Kuiper Belt, far from Earth. A place where no one went. A place where no one looked. Her transport ship flew for 3 days. The facility appeared on her screens like a ghost. A massive station hidden among the ice and rocks. It was bigger than anything Elena had ever seen. Bigger than Earth's largest shipyards. How long had it been here? How had they kept it secret? Admiral Chen met her at the airlock. Welcome to Project Prometheus, Captain. Come, let me show you what we've been building while the rest of humanity slept peacefully. He led her through corridors that went on forever. Through laboratories where scientists worked on things Elena didn't recognize. Through factories where machines built weapons that looked like they came from nightmares. And finally to an observation deck. Elena looked out the window. Her breath stopped. Below the station in a massive construction bay was a warship. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Black metal covered in weapons. It was 5 times bigger than any ship Elena had ever seen. That's the new Galapagos, Chen said softly. I named it after your homeworld. You're going to command it, Captain. You're going to take it into Jarek space, and you're going to burn them the way they burned your family. Elena stared at the ship, at her ship. She should have felt something, joy, excitement, anger, something. But she felt empty, like everything inside her had burned away with her world. All that remained was purpose. When do we launch? She asked. 3 months, Chen said. We have 800 ships like this one. All hidden. All waiting. We've been building an armada in secret for 30 years. Now we're going to use it. The Zarek wanted to teach us a lesson. We're going to teach them one instead. Elena nodded slowly. She pressed her hand against the cold window. Below, crews were loading weapons onto her ship. Weapons designed to kill aliens. Lots of aliens. What kind of lesson? She asked. Chen stood next to her. His reflection in the window looked like death itself. That humans are the most dangerous thing in the galaxy when you make us angry. And the Zarek just made us very, very angry. 3 months passed quickly. Elena learned how to command the new Galapagos. She learned about the weapons it carried. Some of them scared her. Some of them made her sick. All of them were designed to kill in the most efficient ways possible. The ship had weapons that could destroy other ships from 1 million kilometers away. It had weapons that ate through metal like acid. It had weapons that released tiny machines called nanoswarms. These machines were so small you couldn't see them. They could take apart a ship piece by piece, or a person. Dr. Sarah Kamathi ran the weapons research. She was a small woman with kind eyes. She looked like someone's grandmother. But she had spent 30 years designing ways to kill aliens. She showed Elena everything without any shame. We studied every species we encountered, Dr. Kamathi explained as they walked through the laboratory. We learned how they build their ships, what materials they use, how their technology works. Then we built weapons specifically designed to destroy those things. That seems excessive, Elena said quietly. We were supposed to be making peace. Dr. Kamathi smiled sadly. Peace is good, Captain. I believe in peace. But peace only works when both sides want it. When both sides respect each other. The Zarek don't respect us. They see us as insects, as things to be removed when we become inconvenient. Would you negotiate with insects? Elena didn't answer. She thought about Maria and Sophia, about 4 million people who had done nothing wrong except live on a planet someone else wanted. No, she finally said. I wouldn't. The day of departure came. 847 warships gathered at the edge of human space. The largest fleet humanity had ever assembled. Elena stood on her bridge and looked at the tactical display. So many ships, so much firepower, all of it hidden, all of it waiting for this moment. Admiral Chen's face appeared on every screen in every ship. His speech was short. He wasn't good at inspiring words. He was good at cold facts. The Jarek Collective burned one of our worlds. They killed 4 million humans. They did it to teach us fear, to make us obey. They succeeded. The Federation Council is terrified. The news networks are full of people arguing for surrender. The Jarek are watching us, waiting to see if we'll bow down. He paused. We're not going to bow down. We're going to show them what happens when you hurt humanity. We're going to make them regret the day they heard our name. All ships, jump on my mark. The Armada jumped. Space twisted. Stars blurred. Elena held onto her chair as the new Galapagos entered hyperspace. When they emerged, they were in Jarek territory, deep inside it, far from any human world. The target was a colony called Theraxis Prime. 3 million Jarek lived there. It was a military world. Shipyards and weapons factories, training centers for their fleets. Intelligence said it was heavily defended. Hundreds of warships, orbital defense platforms, planetary shields. The Jarek didn't know humans were coming. Why would they? Humans were weak. Humans ran away from fights. Humans negotiated and compromised. Humans definitely didn't attack Jarek worlds. The human fleet appeared without warning. 800 ships against 200 Jarek defenders. The Jarek sent out standard challenges, demanded identification, ordered the humans to leave immediately. Admiral Chen responded with one sentence. This is for New Galapagos. Then the killing started. The human ships opened fire, but not with normal weapons. They fired the special weapons, the ones designed specifically to kill Jarek. Elena watched from her bridge as the nanoswarms were released. Billions of tiny machines flew toward the Jarek ships. They looked like clouds of dust on the sensors. The Jarek tried to shoot them, tried to block them with shields. Nothing worked. The nanoswarms passed through shields like they weren't there. They landed on the Jarek ships and started eating. The machines ate the ship's armor, ate their weapons, ate their engines. The Jarek vessels started falling apart. Pieces broke off and drifted away. Inside the ships, Jarek crew members ran through corridors that were disintegrating around them. Some of them made it to escape pods. Most didn't. Other human ships used different weapons. They fired missiles that contained artificial intelligence warfare systems. These AI programs hacked into the Jarek defense networks. They turned the orbital platforms against their own ships, made the Jarek shoot each other, created chaos and confusion. The battle lasted 43 minutes. When it was over, every Jarek warship was destroyed. The orbital platforms were silent. The planetary shields were down. Theraxis Prime lay open and defenseless. Elena's communications officer spoke quietly. Captain, we're receiving surrender signals from the planet. They're begging us to accept their yield. Elena looked at the planet on her screen. 3 million Jarek down there. Soldiers mostly, but also workers and their families. Children. Just like Sophia had been a child. Admiral Chen's face appeared on her screen. Captain Voss, target the military installations. Weapons factories, shipyards, training facilities. Destroy them all. Sir, those targets are in the middle of population centers, Elena said. Collateral damage will be massive. Chen's face didn't change. The Jarek didn't worry about collateral damage when they burned New Galapagos. Execute your orders, Captain. Elena wanted to argue, wanted to say this was wrong, that they were becoming the monsters they had set out to punish. But she thought about Maria's last moments, about Sophia dying in fear and pain, about 4 million people who never got a chance to surrender. Weapons, she said quietly. Fire at designated targets. The New Galapagos fired. Kinetic weapons fell from orbit like hammers from heaven. They hit the weapons factories and the factories exploded. They hit the shipyards and the yards collapsed into rubble. Each impact released as much energy as a small nuclear bomb. The shockwaves destroyed everything for kilometers around. When it was over, Theraxis Prime's military capability was completely destroyed. So were 12 cities. 800,000 Jarek were dead. The survivors crawled from the ruins and looked up at the human ships with fear in their eyes. The human fleet broadcast a message. Not to Theraxis Prime, to every Jarek world within 100 light years. Admiral Chen's voice was cold and clear. The Jarek Collective burned our world without warning. Without mercy. You wanted to teach us fear. Instead, you woke something you should have left sleeping. We are coming for you, all of you. This is just the beginning. Tell your leaders. Tell your warriors. Tell everyone. Humanity remembers. And humanity is done being afraid. The message spread across Jarek space like wildfire. Within hours, every Zarek in the collective knew what had happened. The humans had attacked, the weak, peaceful humans, and they had won. Easily, brutally. The Jarek High Command met in emergency session. They reviewed the battle recordings, studied the human tactics, analyzed the weapons. What they saw terrified them. The humans weren't fighting like victims defending themselves. They were fighting like predators hunting prey. One of the Jarek commanders spoke what everyone was thinking. We miscalculated. The humans were hiding their strength. They've been preparing for war while pretending to want peace. They're more dangerous than we thought. Another commander disagreed. They're still just humans. We outnumber them 100 to 1. We'll crush them. But a third commander, older and wiser, shook his head slowly. Numbers don't matter if the enemy isn't afraid to die. These humans, they're not fighting to win. They're fighting to make us hurt. That's different. That's dangerous, he was right. But by the time the Jarek understood that, it was too late. The human armada was already moving to its next target, and the one after that. And the one after that, the long hunt had begun. 6 months into the campaign, the human armada had destroyed 17 Jarek military installations. They moved like ghosts through enemy territory. They struck fast and disappeared before reinforcements could arrive. The Jarek couldn't predict where they would hit next. Couldn't stop them. Couldn't even slow them down. Elena sat in her ready room reviewing intelligence reports. Her ship had become famous among both humans and Jarek. They called her the Burning Captain, the woman who had lost everything and now made others lose everything too. She didn't like the name, but she didn't reject it either. Her first officer, Commander Liu Feng, entered without knocking. He looked troubled. He had looked troubled a lot lately. "Captain, we need to talk," he said. Elena looked up. "What is it?" "The latest casualty numbers from Zarek Secundus. 3 million dead. 2 million of them were civilians." "The intelligence was wrong, Captain. That wasn't a military command center. It was a residential district that happened to be near a command center." Elena closed her eyes. The Admiral approved the target. "I know. That's the problem. He's not being careful anymore. He just wants to hurt them. And we're following his orders. We're killing millions, Captain. Women and children. People who never hurt anyone." "They burned New Galapagos," Elena said quietly. "They didn't care about our women and children. So we become them?" Liu demanded. "We do the same thing they did? That makes us murderers, Captain. Just like them." Elena stood up. She was tired. So tired. She slept maybe 3 hours a night. When she did sleep, she dreamed of fire. Sometimes it was New Galapagos burning. Sometimes it was Jarek worlds. After a while, she couldn't tell the difference. "What do you want me to do, Commander? Refuse orders? Stage a mutiny? Stop the war?" "I want you to remember why we're fighting," Liu said. "We're supposed to be the good guys. We're supposed to be better than the Zarek. If we're not, then what's the point?" Before Elena could answer, alarms sounded. Her tactical officer's voice came over the comm. "Captain, to the bridge. We have new orders from Admiral Chen." Elena and Liu rushed to the bridge. On the main screen was Admiral Chen's face. He looked different, thinner. His eyes had a strange light in them. The light of someone who had stopped caring about anything except his mission. "All ships, listen carefully," Chen said. "Intelligence has discovered something important. The Zarek have been lying to us. And to the rest of the galaxy. New Galapagos wasn't their first genocide. It was their 9th. The bridge went silent. Elena felt her heart start beating faster. "What do you mean?" Chen's smile was terrible. "We found their archives. Secret files about previous cleansings. They've done this before. 8 other species, smaller than us, weaker. The Jarek showed up, claimed their territory, and burned their worlds. Billions dead. And the galaxy never knew. The Jarek covered it up. made it look like natural disasters or civil wars. Elena felt sick. Why? Because they could, Chen said. Because they're bullies who pick on anyone weaker than them. Because no one ever stopped them. Until now, New Galapagos was just the latest. They thought we'd roll over like the others did. They were wrong, he paused. When he spoke again, his voice was harder. This changes everything. We're not just avenging our own dead. We're avenging billions who couldn't fight back. The Zarek are genocidal monsters who need to be stopped, and we're going to stop them. Permanently. What are your orders, sir? Elena asked. She already knew she wouldn't like the answer. We're moving on Zarek Prime, Chen said. The homeworld. We're going to cut the head off the snake, and if they don't surrender unconditionally, we're going to do to them what they did to New Galapagos. Sir, Commander Liu spoke up, Zarek Prime has a population of 12 billion. If we attack it, then 12 billion Zarek better hope their leaders surrender. Chen interrupted. We gave them a chance for peace. They chose genocide. Now they get to live with that choice. Or die with it. Admiral Chen out. The screen went dark. The bridge crew stared at each other in shock. Finally, Elena spoke. You all heard the orders. Plot a course to Zarek Prime. Prepare all weapon systems, no one moved. They just stared at her. Liu spoke quietly. Captain, we can't do this. This is wrong. This isn't justice. It's just more killing. They killed 8 other species, Elena said. But her voice shook. They would have killed more. They need to be stopped. Stopped, yes, Liu agreed, but not exterminated. Captain, if we burn their homeworld, we become exactly what they are, genocidal murderers. Is that really what Maria and Sophia would have wanted? For you to become a monster in their name? Elena felt something break inside her. All the anger she had been holding, all the grief, all the pain, it came flooding out. She thought about the last time she saw Sophia's face. The little girl waving goodbye through the video screen. Never knowing it was the last time. Never getting to say the things that mattered. What would Sophia think of her now? Would her daughter be proud that Mommy was avenging her? Or would she be horrified that Mommy had become someone who killed children, just like she had been a child? I don't know, Elena whispered. I don't know what they would want. They're dead. Everyone I loved is dead, and it's the Zarek's fault. Yes, Liu said gently. The Zarek who gave the orders. The Zarek who pulled the trigger. But not all of them. Not the 12 billion on their homeworld who probably don't even know what their leaders did. We have to be better than them, Captain. We have to be better or this war will never end. Elena looked around her bridge. At the faces of her crew. They were good people. Most of them had lost someone on New Galapagos too. But she saw doubt in their eyes. Fear, not fear of the enemy. Fear of what they were becoming. Captain, her communications officer said quietly, Admiral Chen is ordering the fleet to activate the Singularity Drive weapons. He wants them ready to deploy when we reach Zarek Prime. Elena's blood went cold. The Singularity Drive. She had heard about it but never seen it. The ultimate weapon. It could collapse a star into a black hole. Destroy an entire solar system. Kill everything for light years around. He's going to destroy their sun, Elena said. He's going to kill everyone. Not just the Zarek. Every species in that system. All their worlds, everything. Liu looked at her steadily. Captain, what are your orders? Elena stood there for a long moment. She thought about Maria, about Sophia, about 4 million dead, about 8 species that had been exterminated before humanity, about 12 billion Zarek who were about to die for crimes they didn't commit. She thought about what Sophia had said once when she was 5 years old. They had been watching the sunset together. Sophia had asked why the sky turned red. Elena had explained about light and atmosphere. Sophia had thought about it very seriously. Then she had said, I think the sky turns red because it's saying goodbye to the day, and goodbye is always a little bit sad, even when tomorrow will be good. Elena looked at Liu. Send a message to the rest of the fleet. Tell them Captain Elena Voss is refusing Admiral Chen's orders. Tell them the New Galapagos will not participate in genocide. Any ship that wants to join me is welcome. Any ship that doesn't can follow the Admiral to hell. Liu smiled. It was the first real smile Elena had seen in months. Yes, Captain. Within an hour, 200 ships had joined Elena's mutiny. They broke formation and moved away from the Admiral's fleet. Chen sent message after message ordering them back, threatening them with court-martial, with execution for treason. Elena ignored him. She had made her choice. She would fight the Jarek. She would make them pay for what they had done, but she would do it the right way. The human way, with honor, with mercy when it was deserved, with justice instead of vengeance, because that's what Maria would have wanted. That's what Sophia would have wanted. They had been good people. They would want Elena to stay good too, even in the dark, even in the fire. The two human fleets raced toward Jarek Prime. One carried justice. The other carried extinction, and the fate of billions would depend on which one arrived first. The two fleets emerged from hyperspace at almost the same moment. Admiral Chen's 600 ships on one side of Jarek Prime, Captain Voss's 200 ships on the other. Between them hung the Jarek homeworld, glowing blue and green and completely unaware that its fate was about to be decided. The Jarek Defense Fleet scrambled to respond. 3,000 warships, the largest force they had ever assembled. They didn't know which human fleet to engage. They were confused, terrified. They had been receiving reports about the human campaign for months, about weapons that ate through ships, about AI systems that turned their own defenses against them, about the burning worlds left in the human wake. Now the humans were here, at their homeworld, and the Jarek finally understood what they had unleashed when they burned New Galapagos. Admiral Chen broadcast to his fleet. All ships activate Singularity Drive, target the star. On my mark, we end this war permanently. Elena heard the transmission. Her heart raced. She opened a channel to Chen. Admiral, don't do this. The Jarek High Command is broadcasting surrender. They're offering unconditional terms. We won. We don't need to destroy their sun. Chen's face appeared on her screen. He looked like a ghost, like something that had died but kept moving. Captain Voss, I should have had you arrested when you refused my orders. But it doesn't matter now. In 5 minutes, the system will be gone. The Jarek will be extinct, and the galaxy will know what happens when you hurt humanity. You'll kill billions of innocents, Elena said. Children, families, people who never hurt anyone. They burned my family, Chen said quietly. His voice broke. My wife, my sons, my grandchildren. They burned them all. Every person I ever loved died screaming on New Galapagos. So yes, Captain, I'm going to burn them back. All of them. Elena understood then. Chen wasn't fighting for humanity anymore. He was fighting for revenge. The same revenge she had wanted. The same fire that had burned inside her for months. But somewhere along the way she had realized that revenge didn't bring anyone back. It just made more ghosts. Admiral, my family died too, Elena said. Maria and Sophia. They were everything to me. And I wanted to kill every Jarek in the galaxy. I wanted to burn their worlds the way they burned mine. But that's not what Maria would want. That's not what Sophia would want. They were good people. They wouldn't want us to become monsters, Chen laughed. It was a terrible sound. Good people die, Captain. Bad people thrive. That's the way the universe works. But today, for once, the bad people are going to pay. Singularity Drive charging. 3 minutes to activation. Elena made a decision. She turned to her crew. Liu, take control of the tactical systems. Target the Admiral's flagship. Disable their Singularity Drive before it activates. Liu hesitated. Captain, that means firing on our own people. I know, Elena said. But if we don't, 12 billion people die, including children. I won't let that happen. Not even to the Jarek, Liu nodded. His fingers moved across his console. Locked on target, firing. The New Galapagos fired. Precision weapons designed to disable but not destroy. They struck the Admiral's flagship in 3 places. The ship's power systems flickered and died. The Singularity Drive began shutting down, but Chen had backup plans. He activated the Singularity Drive on 5 other ships. They began charging. 2 minutes until activation. All ships with me, Elena broadcast to her fleet. Target those vessels. Disable their drives. Do not destroy them. These are our people. We don't kill our own. Her 200 ships moved as one. They fired carefully. Precisely. One by one, the ships with active Singularity Drives lost power. But Chen kept activating more. It became a race. Could Elena's fleet disable all the doomsday weapons before one of them fired? The seconds counted down. 30 seconds. 20. 10. Finally, with 5 seconds remaining, the last Singularity Drive shut down. The star remained stable. Jarek Prime remained alive. Elena collapsed in her chair. She had done it. She had stopped the genocide. But at what cost? She had fired on human ships, disabled dozens of vessels, committed mutiny against a superior officer. Some might call her a traitor. Others might call her a hero. She didn't care about either. She had done what was right. That was enough. On the Admiral's disabled flagship, Chen stared at his darkened screens. He had failed. The Zarek would live. His family's deaths would go unavenged. Or would they? He had killed millions of Zarek during the campaign, destroyed their fleet, broken their military, made them surrender. Maybe that was enough. Maybe it had to be enough. He sat down slowly. He felt tired, so tired. When had he last slept? He couldn't remember. Everything after New Galapagos was just fire and anger and pain. His security chief approached carefully. Admiral, Captain Voss is requesting permission to board. Chen nodded. Let her come. Elena arrived an hour later. She found Chen sitting alone in his ready room. He looked small, old, broken. She sat down across from him. They didn't speak for a long time. Finally, Chen said, I wanted them to burn, the way my family burned, the way your family burned. I wanted them to feel what we felt. I know, Elena said softly. I wanted that too, for a long time. But somewhere along the way I realized something. Revenge doesn't bring them back. It just creates more pain, more death, more families destroyed. So what do we do? Chen asked. He sounded lost. How do we live with what they did? We remember, Elena said. We make sure it never happens again to anyone. We make the Zarek rebuild what they destroyed. We make them pay reparations. We station fleets here to watch them. We teach them to fear us. But we don't become them. We don't murder billions. We stay human. Chen looked at her with red eyes. You stopped me. You saved the Zarek. Some people will call you a traitor. Probably, Elena agreed. But Sophia would be proud of me. That's what matters. The Zarek High Command surrendered unconditionally that same day. They agreed to every human demand. They would pay massive reparations. They would turn over their weapons technology. They would allow human bases on their worlds. They would rebuild New Galapagos. They would do whatever it took to avoid extinction. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. Humanity had defeated the Zarek Collective. The mighty Zarek, who controlled 400 worlds, had surrendered to the small human federation. More importantly, humanity had shown mercy at the end. They could have destroyed the Zarek. They had the power. But they chose not to. That scared the other species more than anything. Humanity wasn't just strong. They were strong enough to destroy you, but chose not to. That made them unpredictable, dangerous, worthy of respect. Elena returned to Earth 6 months later. She was court-martialed for mutiny. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The Federation Council debated her fate. Some wanted her executed as an example. Others wanted her given a medal for preventing genocide. In the end, the president pardoned her. She had broken the rules, yes, but she had saved billions of lives. She had shown the galaxy that humanity had a conscience. That meant something. Elena retired from the military. She went back to what was left of New Galapagos. The Zarek were rebuilding it as part of their surrender agreement. Slowly, carefully, they were bringing the dead world back to life, planting forests, filling oceans, building cities. She helped build a memorial, a massive wall with 4 million names carved into black stone, every person who had died when the world burned. Elena ran her fingers over 2 names near the bottom, Maria Voss, Sophia Voss. Her family. People came from across human space for the dedication ceremony, thousands of them. Survivors who had lost loved ones, soldiers who had fought in the war, citizens who wanted to remember. Elena gave a speech. It was short. She wasn't good at speeches, but the words came from her heart. We ascended in fire, she said. When New Galapagos burned, something woke up inside humanity. Something old, something dangerous. We remembered that we're survivors, that we're fighters, that we don't surrender when someone tries to destroy us. The Zarek thought they could teach us fear. Instead, they taught us our own strength. She paused, looked at the wall of names, at Maria's name, at Sophia's name. But we also learned something else. We learned that strength without mercy is just cruelty, that revenge without limit is just murder. We could have burned the Zarek homeworld. We could have made them extinct. We had the power. We had the weapons. We had the justification, but we chose not to. We chose to show mercy instead, she smiled sadly. Some people say that was weakness, that we should have finished what we started, but I think it was our greatest strength. We ascended in fire, yes. We became powerful. We became feared, but we chose not to burn forever. We chose to stay human, to stay good. That choice, more than our weapons, more than our victories, defines who we are. She touched Maria's name one more time. The people on this wall didn't die so we could become monsters. They died because monsters exist in this galaxy. Our job now is to make sure those monsters never burn another world, never kill another family. We'll do that with strength when we must, but also with wisdom, with compassion, with all the things that make us human. The crowd was silent. Some were crying. Others stood with hard faces, remembering their own losses. All of them understood. The war had changed humanity, made them stronger, but it hadn't destroyed what made them good. That was worth more than any victory.